Go.
Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 8th, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my own day-to-day life, and the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I personally utilize in order to make virtually every decision I do. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me, and they have worked for literally thousands of other people over the years. With varying degrees of success, depending on their own efforts. Now, before we get into it, we are going to be looking at family in terms of the off-worlders, because so many people seem to have this brilliant idea that all the off-worlders, all the aliens that we know about, or that we suspect we know about, are out to actually conquer Earth, wipe out Earth, control Earth. I'm telling you, that's like saying every human is interested in beating up on their neighbor. Every lion is interested in teaming up with every crocodile so they can conquer the planet. It doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, the information is being propagated right now, not only by by simple fearmongers that really don't know what they're dealing with, but sadly, by a staggering number of people working in the metaphysical fields, especially, and I hate to put myself in this spin because I don't like doing that, so I don't, but even the people working in the UFO industry, oh, aliens are bad, they're going to kill us all. If that was going to happen, understand, number one, they wouldn't wait for nuclear power. They'd have done it when you were still throwing stones at each other. Number two, even if they did wait for it, okay, they aren't going to blow the planet up that I'm aware of. Earth, now, virtually every race has done this, okay, when they were younger. Now, humans are an infantile race. They really are, comparatively speaking. Virtually every race has almost destroyed their own ecosystems in their own worlds because of the same kind of short-sighted thinking. Now, when we start looking at the family unit, this does not only apply to humans. Okay, there are a number of different ways of looking at family. Okay, when you look at most of the reptilians, and let's be clear about one little detail that I can think of off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, I think I've got a dozen different reptilian races that I've got documentation on. Okay, they are not all the same. Ultimately, Philip, you are absolutely correct. And before I get into that, thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Cute, Philip. Humans are people too. They are. You're going to love that one. There's something that's coming up with that. But I'm going to go back up here and find out. Where is this? I need that up. And we have here, with the gold, we have Chad Smith in the house with the gold. And of course, nothing's going to work right today, is it? What I'm having trouble with here is actually getting the link copied. There we go. Finally, we have Chad Smith in with the gold. This is the link to Chad Smith's live stream and his archives. Absolutely. Drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to his channel. Now, Chad, I trust things are going well. Well, oh, Yeah, Chad, we are live here. There are 3 scheduled shows for today. I have no idea how that worked out. Okay, sorry, that's tech. For all I know, the computer did that. We have LA is in the, but I am glad you made it here there, Chad. LA, you are in with the silver. Okay, glad you can make it. Hope things are going well on your end. Then we have Philip in with, Philip Blair is in with the bronze. Way to go, Philip. Glad you made it. Christine, you're in with honorable mention today. This is a rare surprise. I mean, you're virtually always here, but it's nice seeing you catch in right at the beginning. And hey, look at this. We have Nathan listing from work, which means he's going to be on the go. And like we said, Nathan, absolutely imperative you pay attention to what's going on at work. No point in running over somebody. Well, sometimes no, don't go there. That's pretty dark. This is the link to Nathan's show. So drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay, and then we carry down a little further. We go down and we have Eternity Eternal. How you doing? Glad you could join us. I trust your day has been going well. Joe Stewart is here. Joe goes, everything I wrote about last live stream today is there, not here. I hate hiccups. No doubt. Unfortunately, I run into that all the time. I've been having a real bad run of things today, and my brain went to some pretty dark places. Which is why I figured we better get things off the ground running properly. Now, what do we got? Whoa. I hope it was bizarre negative, absolutely. But I hope things are still stable at work there, Christine. And we have Alien Believers. Alien, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Just to be clear, because to be honest, I don't think I've seen you in here before, so welcome aboard. We do our best here to keep this place absolutely safe for everybody. Okay, but if you've got a question in any field that comes to your mind, absolutely put it in the chat room in all caps, or at least partial caps at the very minimum. Put a wavy hand up there. Okay, that the all caps is not yelling at me. It simply makes it stand out so I can find it. Okay, that's just the way it is. Oh, yeah. I don't know. In all fairness, Christine, I've been having troubles with technology myself, which is normal for me. But much more importantly, in today's world, I'm having troubles with my actual energy levels. Haven't tried that one yet, Philip, and I'm really not good at jokes most of the time. And there's so many possible answers. It's funny, LA. Is today actually Monday? Mind you, I slept through today, so slept through most of the day. I lose track of what day of the week I'm on most of the time. It is Monday. Okay. Okay, well, that would explain why going down to wings was pointless. But, I look at it this way. Whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, I like every now and again, I get one of these days I just call kerfuffle day. Because nothing works. But my Monday, as of recently, is what you guys have on your calendar. It's Friday. the reality of it is we take a look at family and the family unit. Well, you got to remember, humans are one species. There's lots of different races of you. I finally figured that one out. But that has to do with color. That has to do with where you evolved. Oh, there we go. I appreciate the update there, Alien. You know, the reality of it is, from my standpoint, I do not remember things. I don't track things well. But, you know, from my end, when we take a look at family, humans have to realize, as a species on the same planet, we have an obligation to ourselves to protect the planet we live on. Okay, you go to any other race, okay, any of the other documented species that I know of, okay, they're problems. When we take a look at the Sarkon, who you know as the Alpha Draconis, they expanded their empire way too fast. Now, on a real tiny level, okay, the British Commonwealth expanded their empire on Earth way too fast, okay, and ended up in contact. I love the way you put that. The ironic part is, yeah, because you qualified as ever there, Phil's asked a brilliant question. I love it. He goes, do planets ever get angry at their moon? Sometimes, most of the times, like our moon, for instance, the moon for Earth, was literally built in order to stabilize things. Between it being built and Mobius being built, it was designed to hold Earth stable. Well, there's a sidetrack we don't get very often. It's intriguing there, Joe. I actually watched the tail end of WrestleMania this year. I just about walked away from wrestling altogether because I got so fed up and so disgusted with the storylines they've been dealing with that I'm like, no, I'm just not going to watch. I don't like bullying at the best of times, and that's exactly what they were dealing with. But no, I was quite happy myself with the fact that that Cody Rhodes took the champion and took the belt. That's going to indicate a lot of changes. I did manage to watch it. My son really wanted me to watch it with him, so I went and sat down. I was prepared to walk out of the room again. But you got to remember, okay, when we look, and this is a sidetrack, I know that. When we take a look at Philip, if you're on Earth, you live in the path of the eclipse. It's just a reality behind it. You may not be able to see it, but you're still in the path. No, when I take a look at the whole wrestling thing, it is literally a microcosm, a negative microcosm in my eyes of our world at large. Okay, when we take a look at this stream, okay, at the chat room in here, we are doing our best to make it a positive impact of the world at large as a microcosm. And I will tell you, with LA and Storm in the background, spearheading the moderators, and Nathan in there, Nathan is in as a moderator, as is Raven. Okay, I think that's all we've got at this point. We had to remove a few. Now, where are we here? Let's just go back up here. Yeah, I love this question, though. And we'll get into that on another day, essentially, but some planets, and the planets are Caboran, and sometimes they will literally give birth to their own moon. And yes, in a case like that, there are times when the Caboran will get mad at its moon. and we'll have to discipline it in a sense. Okay, that's a whole different ballgame. But when they are actually born, when the moon is actually born of the Caboran, means your moon, that some people's moons are Caboran. But they do have arguments just like everybody else. Like I said, the different races are very similar to humans in a lot of ways. The answer to your question there, Philip, is it's a subquantum. Basically, what they use is a subquantum tectonic slap, and they will fire a bolt. Essentially, they will fire a bolt of energy across the distance to impact on the moon. And rest assured, there are new nerve points, what we call ley lines, on Earth. There are ley lines on the moon. So yes, they have their arguments and what have you. But, the biggest one is every now and again, you'll get a moon that goes, but I want to go out and see the universe. I want to go out and see the universe. And of course, the parent will go, not going to happen. This is the life you chose. You're stuck with this one. But I want to go. Once in a while, you'll hear of something like was depicted in the movie, in the show, decades back, Space 1999. Okay, where the moon was knocked out. I think it was Space 1999, where the moon was knocked out of orbit. Or was that another movie I watched? But it was a while back anyway. The nice little part when we're looking at this, like the family issue is still the same thing. People lock into a corporeal family experience, or for that matter, an incorporeal one, to get to experience that family connection. It's part of the overall soul contract that you make with yourself, that you literally started with millennia back. Okay, well, eons back, call it what you will, way before Earth was even a thought. Let's see here. Just right. Yeah, okay. Stars just confirming that was Space 1999. Personally, where I got hooked up with that one was I personally liked Maya. I like the concept, but there you go. Now, where are we here? Friday night was Hall of Fame 2024, but upstairs window that night, a white light appeared. Oh. Well, Joe, you may well have had somebody up there, and I don't know for certain. I'm just saying you may well have had somebody up there trying to see what was going on with WrestleMania. Because I'll tell you, what's being propagated in WrestleMania right now is being absolutely, it's being absolutely run and dictated by the whole concept of bullying. Just doesn't work for me. Oh, there we go. That was a comment. Yeah, LA's just going, you spotted the comment. Yeah, I mean, and of course, we look back in the 70s there when Space 1999 was running, right? I was only 13 at the time. Well, Space 9, what was it? Yeah, the 70s. I was in my early to mid teens. So yeah, there was that. Now, what do we got here? Yeah, we only caught the last half of the show. Unfortunately, I appreciate the confirmation there, Woo. I saw the fight with Cody, right? And it's ought to be entertaining with the Undertaker and who the heck is it? That just about came wrong. But with a couple of the major superstars coming back, I do not like what they've done with The Rock's personality. Thank you. Like I said, I've got to go. Thanks very much, Will. I've got good memory. It's just about that long, like a nanosecond long. Quite often I'll forget things. LA Moon. The answer to your question is some do. Some planets are Caboran. Okay. And the way that all happens. What is that? Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Some Caborans, what happens is we have a the way a Caboran is born basically is this. We have volcanic eruption. Bunch of debris gets thrown up into the stratosphere. Okay. Some of that debris works its way up into orbit and then eventually out. Okay. And when it gets out into orbit, then it starts collecting up bits and pieces, just like with humans, where they start developing the cells. Caborans, instead of developing it from inside, they collect debris from outside. They collect space particles to grow. Yeah. Yeah. So the nice part there is if the Caboran starts that way, and again, like let's face it, there are millions of planets, millions of stars out there. Well, quite frankly, there's billions, which by definition means yes, there's millions. But there are countless stars and planets out there. So sometimes what'll happen is you end up with a particulate being erupted from, for instance, from Eta, who you call Earth, Gaia, Mother Nature. Okay, there's a lot of different names. I've been called a lot of things over the years. Okay, so what happens is you get a particulate that gets into outer space, and to it, or more to the point, having pushed to it, little space parts until it eventually grows to the size of a small body and continues to grow. Now, what'll happen is, and to start with, they roam the cosmos looking for where they're going to be. Eventually, they will find a son, a foster father, if you will, and pull into orbit. Net result becoming a planet. Okay. Now, with some planets, when that particulate grows, it drops into orbit around its parent Caboran, and net result turns around and becomes a moon. This is where we have the family growing. Okay, this is why, like, if you take a look at, and I don't know the exact number, I'm not an astronomer. Okay, I'm not an astronomer, so I don't have the background on that. But I think there's something like 22 planets around Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter, just like Earth, has eruptions that throws particulates out in orbit. Okay, now most of the planet of the moons around Jupiter happen to be her children. Okay, now we gotta understand, with this in mind, the Caboran are literally, what's the word I'm looking for? I forget. Oh well. Caboran they are just simply one gender, and I'm pulling it like they aren't male or female, they're both hermaphrodites. There we go. Yeah, and that's a neat thing, Lou. I love the way you put that. That wrestling is a good soap opera. It is. I just don't like the storyline that most of it is going through right now. I'm just really happy the way that WrestleMania itself turned out. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I appreciate that, Storm. Okay, so what we have here is a massive storm is going. By most counts, Jupiter has between 85 and 95, 80 and 95 moons, but neither number captures the complexity of the Jovian system of moons, rings, and asteroids. Yeah, and trying to quantify that is not going to work well. But does it have interaction? Certainly. I do know that mankind has already set up a research station on Io. This idea that we're going to the moon or we're not going to the moon, we're way past the moon at this point. No, I cannot prove it. Okay. Sorry, you're going to have to wait for 50 to 100 years to prove that one. But that's okay. But this is what you're looking at. So you've got with Jupiter, you've got a massively large family. Now, on Earth, I've known families that have 14, 16 kids of a human family. So when you start looking at the way the planet that Caboran reproduce, you're looking at a nice little situation of a very complex setup. One thing you can bet your bottom dollar on is that a Caboran will never, once it's a full adult, will very seldom visit another Caboran. It has happened where one Caboran will have a fight with the other, with another Caboran. Problem is, usually both Caboran die. Okay, they certainly run into complications. So, but we are looking at family communication, and just like when you're talking about communication, sometimes they use an intermediary to communicate, but they've got a different way of doing it. They are full telepathic. Okay, and yes, Caboran, it doesn't matter where you are, Caboran speak one language. Okay, now they do speak various different languages to their own kids. Joe, absolutely I have. The cicada, if I recall correctly, cicada is an insect on Earth. But if I recall correctly, the one I know about sleeps for 17 years. It wakes up for a day, does its whole thing, lays eggs, and goes back to bed. I'm telling you, anybody ever says you're staying in bed too long, that might just be a bit of a problem. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. But again, there are so many different ways of looking at family and looking at the communication lines between them. We have to realize, well, we don't have to. Okay. Alien. Number one, Earth is unique. Our Earth's moon is unique unto itself. And one of these days I'm going to have to ask and find out why. Yes, I stopped myself halfway through that. Earth itself, or Earth's moon, is a construct, but not something built by aliens, unless you want to count spirits as aliens, because the moon was started being built back when Earth was built. Earth itself simply had a spirit step in. Net result, we have Earth itself. We have Esau. Okay. Well, absolutely, Philip. One of the biggest things that we have to look at. Oh, the other thing, alien. Is it true that no other moon anywhere, that our moon, like no other moon anywhere, is the only one with a dark side? No. It's funny because the dark side of the moon, of Earth's moon, okay, you think about it, the dark side refers to radio and to radio communication, not to the sunlight factor, because there's not a side of the moon does not orbit Earth locked in a physical position. Because once you understand, once you understand how the moon travels, I'll use this. Just imagine this thing's round. Okay. When they show the moon, show the galaxy, okay, they show your sun sitting in one location and just sitting there. And when they're drawing a two-dimensional picture of it, you've got all of your planets revolving around the Earth, or around the sun, and they're all on an equal plane. This is why they call it the galactic plane. What they don't tell you is what's really going on. Okay, that's what you're seeing. Now, where it comes to the dark side of the moon, okay, the planets do not go around the sun, or the moon in this case doesn't go around the planet holding static. Okay, it goes around the planet this way. But if you think about it, the sun is on the other side of that. This is how you can see the moon at all. Okay, is the sun is behind it, and we're able to see what's left. Now, the neat part about it is the reason it's dark, that it's called the dark side, is because with the Earth over here, and you see the moon. Okay, radio waves require a direct connection. Oh, Philip, I wish I could tell you how much you've got in the way of misinformation. I do not blame you, don't get me wrong. Number one, okay, that's the issue around the dark side of the moon. The dark side is because human radio waves won't get there without a satellite on the other side to bounce it. Okay, now moving forward, okay, is it true there's an alien base on the dark side of the moon? Well, that part is accurate. It's basically a way station. A lot of aliens come in, and they come in on a direct line to the moon, where the moon is behind where they come in behind the moon, so the Earth can't see them coming in. Okay, so is there a base there? Yes. Is there a base where humans are enslaved for labor? In some cases, the answer will be yes. But what you're asking, and what you seem to be asking, correct me if I'm wrong, you're asking, are humans taken to the moon solely for the purpose of slave labor? Is that where they're being removed to? Now, there are slavers on the moon. Okay. But is that the purpose of the abductions? No. Okay, but you think about it, we talk about slavery being being part of our dark history. Slavery between humans is still a real thing. Okay, and you're going to love this one. Many people refer to people working as wage slaves. Okay, but no, the urban legend or the myth about, the myth about the moon having essentially a slave camp over there. No. Mike, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Let us see here. I gotta refresh time finding what we're up to. The reality is, when you take a look at it, in that station on the moon, okay, and mankind knows about it, okay, or more to the point, the scientists and especially NASA knows about it wholeheartedly. Okay, but is it a question of it being some sort of a way station? Let's kidnap a bunch of humans, put them up for market, and put them to work mining anything on the moon? No. By the way, the moon is also not made out of green cheese, although it does have a whole lot of holes in it. One of the things we have to realize is every one of there's a lot of things, there's a staggering amount of fear mongering going on. Oh, whoop. Gotta just see what that. There we are. Mike's going, okay, so there were these two sisters who kept getting visited by the big-eyed people. I'm guessing the Greys. But they would play with their fingers, age 6 and 8. That would make sense. Okay, children. Oh, you got to remember, one of the things that, first and foremost, children are much more adept at adapting to strange-looking people. Because you got to remember, even children, when they're looking at adult humans, don't recognize them necessarily in the same way. But these kids, this has been going on for some time, I suspect, probably since birth, or very close to it. But why they would play with their fingers is this: humans have 5 fingers, or more to the point, they've got 4 fingers and a thumb. Now, you'll notice my hand does not configure properly. That and those 2 fingers don't actually separate. Even with this one, which is separate now, until I had my stroke, they didn't separate at all. The reticulans have only 3 fingers. Okay. Once in a while, they'll have, just like humans, they end up with an extra flange. Okay, but they would check out the fingers because, well, these are weird. Now you can bet those Greys are probably students and probably studying hominid physiology. Okay, now many of the ancient races actually refer to humans as wastrels. Okay, but with the Greys, most of the Greys refer to humans as Solarians because of the star that we're on, that we're around. But they play with the fingers just to figure out how they function. On the plus side, they don't tend to break them, unlike the Vegans, which break them just to figure out what happens. Okay, ultimately that would be the issue there. But again, you're dealing with neighbors, okay? And families have neighbors. Now, when we're looking at the reticulans, they come from a very long way away. But they are here on a regular basis because, well, let's face it, they are literally here to study the human race regarding the hybridization program. Oh, and let's see what we got. Many people have very traumatic experiences when dealing with off-worlders. Okay, and I do feel for the father. Now, of course, if he had an experience that was really negative, and his daughters are having an experience that they're not having a problem with, this is where, and I'm not telling you the father is in the wrong. It makes total sense that the father would be edgy about it. It was decades before I actually came out and said a thing to anybody. Okay, because especially if you've had negative experiences, and understand the first time I was taken was by the Talon. Okay, which are an ant-like race. Okay, now those are nasty little monkeys that, frankly, I have a lot of trouble with still. Them and I don't get, we're starting to get better, or more to the point, they're realizing that their method isn't working well. At least not with me. But what you're looking at is the amount of misinformation. We start with the idea that the dark side of the moon actually doesn't have any light. It's dark because we in human technology cannot communicate from there. But here's the problem, or here's the flip side of that. Their technology can communicate straight from the other side of the moon, right to Earth, cutting right through it, because they utilize a sub-quantum algorithm to make the connection happen. Humans don't have that tech yet. Probably a good thing in this case, because that subquantum emanation can ignite the core of a planet and burn the thing. Okay, so they had to develop it so it didn't actually do that. But that's where the dark side comes in. But aliens themselves are not here to conquer Earth. They're not here to take over the planet. They're not here to do a lot of things. We are having trouble, it would seem. And if I could move any further back, I would. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Of course, I could get up and walk away. Now, when we take the different... Really? Any suggestion there, Frank? Or are we just, we just going to have to deal with the fact he keeps cutting out? Well, let's see what we got here. Oh, there we are. See, I take it like my kids are fortunately have, like, especially my youngest one, has come to the conclusion that this just happens with me. Okay, but you really don't want to be around me when I'm having a bad day, and today was rough. I just about had to call the whole show off today because I was having a lot of trouble. And, sadly, my mind can go to some pretty dark places. Now, one thing that we can look at here is when you look at the other races, once you start realizing that these off-worlders have families of their own, they've got very similar internal conflicts with being away from their homes for a long period. Now, have any of you noticed there's been a ship around here, looks very much like the Colosseum. Okay, like the big Colosseums, that Rome used to build. Okay, have any of you witnessed this anywhere? This is something that I would love to hear. There is information on them. Yeah, Joe, with the color of the sky changing, that would make total sense because with the eclipse, it's going to alter the frequency of the sun of the photo wave of the. I love it when I pull a blank on terminology, but the sun blocking will alter the energy levels. Net result, things will start to look a different color. But what we're looking at is a situation where the families, where family really is a question of who are you choosing to have around you. Yeah, very much there, Ellie. That's a good way to put it. When you put us into a solar eclipse, it very much mimics the sunset. Funny part about it is the first time when I was first seeing and yes, I saw a psychiatrist for 20 years trying to figure out how my brain actually works. In a nutshell, there isn't. Okay. I will tell you, however, that sometimes, like for instance, we take a look at the lifespan of people. Okay. Caborans literally live billions of human years. Alphid will live. The original Alphid, there are still some of the original Alphid that are alive today. Okay. You won't see them. They're in what you call inner Earth. Okay. And when you take a look at some of the other races, like for instance, Laborians, a Laborian only lives about 35 years of theirs. But when you translate that into human years, okay, 1 year for a Laborian is roughly 365,000 years long. That's 1 year. You know, that's a very nice series you put up there, Philip. Life itself is not without end, but from a human standpoint, it can look like people are immortal and never die. Humans are not likely. There isn't a human alive that will see Earth die, and Earth will eventually die. Okay, it will eventually pass on. But what we have to remember is it's not how long you live, it's how well you live and whether or not, are you leaving, and this applies to every species. Are you leaving the world that you're in better shape than it was in when you got here? Yeah, Philip goes, that's a long year. They don't get Halloween very long and very often when the year is that long. Absolutely not. However, the Laborians that have managed to land on Earth, and we'll use the term land on Earth a little loosely, they were kidnapped and crashed here. But some of them do understand the concept of Halloween. They have taken, same as other races, adopted some of the Terran holidays. Okay. Yeah, we are getting. It's not dropping, so we're getting glitches. And of course, my monitor is showing real fuzzy on the other one. On the monitor I work with, that one shows up clear as a bell. But my other one is showing up very, very pixelated, very smoky. And this is one of those things I sort of have to deal with. Although, and I mentioned this the other day, apparently something is happening with my estate, with my brother's estate. I haven't talked to him recently, but about a month ago, I talked to him and we had agreed he was going to take some of that money that was due me and get it to pay off my car loan. Well, I went in to check the status of my loan, and it is down 10 grand from what it was. Now, to me, this is a bonus. So that likely, I think that works out to cutting about 2 years alone, which I can work with quite readily. But when we look at the whole family idea, family is who you choose to connect with. It's not always bloodline. Okay, now I will tell you that Earth's moon was a construct. Okay, it is a construct. It is occupied with a way station on the far side. The reason the way station is on the far side is in order to disrupt humanity's outlook on life too badly. Okay, but as I recall, what was it? I think it was Apollo 13, where that they first landed on the moon. And there's that neat little statement that was purportedly made as NASA, we have a problem. The reality was it was more to the point, NASA, we had a problem. Okay, and the problem was quite literally they lost contact. They lost contact, not to mention seeing what was over there. Yeah, and Joe goes, well, I'd say my relationship with the paranormal has gone quite weird, but we get along. Yeah. See, to my way of thinking there, Joe, your relationship with the paranormal has just gotten stable. It's just become stable. Oh, well, I take that as a definition there, Philip. Yeah, Philip goes, family is who gives you the seasonal flu. Of course, he does put LOL there. But if I would take that as a definition, aside from last year, well, last year I didn't even have a flu. Okay, last year was the first time in 25 years that I even had a cold. Now, we're not talking about heart attacks and strokes because the heart attacks have had too many. But family is a choice. Bloodline is a birthright. But when we look at the family, you take a look at it. Number one, and you guys are gonna love this one, especially with the reptilian and with the reticulans. People tell me, "Oh, the reticulans are photocopies and they're dying out." They're not dying out anytime soon. Number one, they're not photocopies. Okay. Number two, they aren't even being replicated with a transporter. Boy, am I having trouble with words today. Okay, reptilia, or the reticulans, as near as I can piece together, are kind of a cross between an insect and a reptile. Okay, no, the replicators, those would be the xenon. I believe that's the xenon, or it's the zeron. I keep getting those two mixed up. Zeron. Nope, that's zeron there. Yeah, I was right. I'm getting. This is why I've got this neat little book. 59 races that I've personally dealt with face to face. Okay, some of them have actually met on Earth, but I've got another 40 or close to 50 in the second book. Yes, I'm working on tying this one off. I'm tying the second printing off. But this is why, just for those of you that are not already aware, okay, with Positive Perspective magazine, okay, I have started including pictures of the different races. Well, absolutely, Philip. Go right ahead. I can tell you that the Neanderthals have been dead for quite a while. But I don't know how good they can pull that one off. But hey, have at. The thing with the newsletter, I know I've said I've got pictures. I wonder. Let me just take a look because I'm standing right here. Well, sitting right here. Let me see. This particular stack. Yes, I've got stuff I've been working on. This one here that's the articles. So that goes over here. That's paperwork I'm working on. Then there we are. That's the infrastructure. This is the way my filing works on occasion. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but let's see. Yeah, this isn't going to show up very well. But what I've done, now this was April. Okay, going to see if I can do this. Okay, this was April's edition. And if you look inside of I don't have page numbers. I'm going to have to change that eventually. But you'll notice that there is a picture included in it. That's the Mulduck. Okay. And I put it there. Like, this is included in the newsletter. Like I mentioned, people were asking me to put color pictures in. So we've started doing that as well. Okay. Now, I'm not expecting you to be able to see that picture. Okay. But this is the April edition. May's is already almost completed and ready to go. Take this, put it over here, and it will have another one. Now, if we take these, we spread them out so I can work with them properly. Sure, put it all the way over the other side, and then I have to get up again. Well, give me half a second. I don't usually go into this one. That room you don't need into. But, and again, guys, this newsletter, it only comes out via email. Okay. Although in special occasions, I now actually have a printer. Okay. But the reality is the email version it's absolutely free, even the hard copy will be. Okay. But if you're listening on here, pretty much guaranteed you've got email. So we are working on that. And I am starting to work on expanding things a whole lot to cover some of the things we discuss here. Not the least of which is the whole concept of what family really is. And the other thing I've got to start doing is posting more directly into social media. Now, I'm only on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Okay, those are the only ones I'm on right now. But I have enough trouble trying to keep those three straight. The nice part about it from that standpoint, when we look at the off-worlders, understand all races can get along, but you gotta find common ground. And you gotta get past the idea that, oh, you look a little funny, therefore you vote that way. Okay. I always told my boys, I don't care what you wear, what you dress like. Don't care what you've got in the way of skin color or as far as that goes. I will tell you where it comes to tattoos. Okay. The one thing I've told my boys flat out, until you're 16, I will not back you on the idea of getting a tattoo. Okay. But for those of you that like tattoos, the only caution I've got for you is never, in my opinion, put somebody's name on it or somebody's face on it that in the way of a tattoo that you are not related to. Okay. Now, some of you will put on tattoos with of an actor or an actress. I'm not the one to tell you what to do with it. The reason I say you don't put it on unless you're related, okay, is because you may not down the road, and you may desire not to have that reminder. When it comes to family, sooner or later, I'm going to be different factors. Yeah, I hear that a lot there, Philip. Oh yeah, buyer's remorse is LA goes, buyer's remorse is a real thing. Absolutely. And the thing that you got to remember with a tattoo, you cannot take it back. You know, you just cannot take it back, period. Now, of course, I mentioned I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, but I'm also here on YouTube, obviously, and I do my best to get into the comments and respond to them. But my life gets completely scrambled. Yeah, that sounds like an excuse. But I'll tell you what, do yourself a favor. Never become temporally challenged. Okay. I was diagnosed as a kid with I got a couple of scars I can't do a thing about for the moment. But I don't, I love some of the tattoo work that gets done. I really do. Will I ever get one myself? Not a prayer. I've got no interest in going through it. Murray, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, we've been having little glitches. Part of that is me. Part of it is my connection. I can't do much with it. It does seem to break itself up. I'd love to. I can apologize for the quality, but technology and I argue. Frank is doing his best. Frank, Storm is doing his best in the background to try and compensate for it, because we're having less trouble now than we did when I was running it straight from here. Storm and LA have taken over handling. This is why we're on StreamYard, is because they took over handling it from their end. Okay. I wish I could do something with it, but for the moment, that's just not happening. And look, hey, talk about convenient timing. We have just hit the 1 hour mark here. So I'm going to go out front and grab a coffee because she keeps drinking it. I'm going to blame her, okay? And I will be right back. Yeah, what the heck is going on? Somebody tried phoning me. I don't know who. I think that was somebody trying to phone me. By the way, Joe, I just stepped up front. My son is watching wrestling up there. I will go to that afterwards. Yeah, who phoned me? Well, like I care. Okay.
I'm sorry, Keith. That was music I was playing while you were gone.
But Rock's in the ring right now talking to Cody, and they're just oh. Oh, there we are. Okay. That's okay. Somebody phoned me today too. And what about they phoned me? Oh, that was at 3:30. Oh no, Rock and Cody are not fighting. They're just talking right now. Okay. You know something's going to go wrong. And sorry, I'm not going to be up there watching at this point. But they are having a discussion at this point, which is fine. You know. But no, it all seems peaceable at this point. Anyway, when I take a look at it, like I said, when we look at family, it doesn't matter what race, what species, what planet you're on, we are still dealing with the same idea. And the more the family gets along with, between each other, and you'll love that. Well, you may not. For those of you that have picked up Neil DeBachian Chronicles, where's my book? There we are. This one came to an interesting solution. Okay. These clearly, the only place you can get these, by the way, are directly from me at the link at the top there, at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or directly through my email, which is innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. Either one, you can get a hold of me. Okay. But with that in mind, came to an interesting conclusion. When I wrote this, there is a major antagonist, but I was running into an interesting problem because, well, the story got a little long, figured out a couple of ways of doing things. And what's happening now is I've got another series that I've already started writing. Like, I didn't have enough on the go. I swear I'm looking at it going, what, pray tell, is going on here? Like, I've got no shortage of storylines, right? But I am looking at what to do in the way of posting on Facebook. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, that sort of thing. I'm thinking I should probably start posting some of the information just to get people's attention. Because right now, much as I've got them all in stock, I'm not turning over a whole lot of stock. I've got a lot of inventory that isn't doing anything. Ultimately, it's going to be through the books that I desire to really make. What do we got here? I gotta see what that says. Oh, no, in all fairness, that's a thing, Philip. Philip is just asking, have you tried using AI to help you write faster? Not a prayer will I turn to AI to do so. I'm a dinosaur. Okay. I still write on pen and paper. Okay. But what I have done is my editor also does my transcription. I'm not interested in writing in a hurry. I'm interested in living a long time because I got a lot of information that when I die, and it's the same as you, when you die, whatever is up here is gone. Okay, it's lost into the ages. Very much like when the Library of Alexandria collapsed. Okay, so I'm doing my best to get as much information out there as I can. It contradicts a lot of the information I'm sitting on. I will warn you, contradicts what you've heard. Okay, not the least of which is that mankind is going to be wiped out by aliens. They're coming here to enslave us all. If that were the case, guys, you'd already be enslaved. Okay, I personally do not like the concept of AI. AI it's a brilliant it's a tool. It really is, but it is not AI, and you better hope. In my opinion, there's been lots of stories that have told the outcome. You turn a computer loose to think and give it free rein to think without an emotional overlay, the solutions on this planet are going to be pretty brutal. Mankind's problems will be over. Because you take a robot, okay, give it a complex computer program to think, okay, and what you've got is a solution that will be socially completely unacceptable. Let me ask you this. if you've got an area on Earth that you've got a starving population, how do you cure the starvation problem? You know, how do you, if you've got a section of Earth, and there are places on Earth where people are starving. I know this. My parents used to say, eat what finish eating what's there, because there are people starving in Ethiopia. And there are things when you look at them and go, okay, ship it to Ethiopia because I don't like it. But that was me and the rest of my family. Philip, here's the funny part. That idea of solving the starvation problem with food is accurate, but where do you get the food? Because I will tell you, I am about to tell you exactly what the robots would do. Well, I got to ask, who built the Library of Alexandria in the first place? I'm not a history major by any means. Okay, here's the thing, Philip. You know what an AI will do? Take emotions out of the equation. You take a chunk of property and you've got 100,000 people there. An AI, if it's built with even a modicum of reason to it. Okay, thank you, Ballet. If you even have a modicum of reason to it, we'll take a look at that section of land and go, okay, now just for simplicity's sake, we know this section of land can produce enough food to support 10,000 people. Now, if you get a well-built program, it will go, okay, guys, you've got to move 90,000 people off this property. Then we will make it produce the food to support the other 10,000. The computer will not ask, do you have a bigger bank account? They will not ask, do you believe in this one particular God? They will go, you're hominid, you're living here. This property will only support 10,000. 90,000 of you are going. Now, I'm built properly, so I'm giving you a month to move. Okay. Problem. Most humans go, you're not going to tell me where I can live. An AI will come in and wipe out wholesale 90,000 people. Just flat out and wipe them out. Then it'll start rebuilding the ecosystem to support people. That's how they'll solve it. Now, is this the kind of solution you're looking for? Okay, when we take a look at that side of it, this is where people are excessively short-sighted. If the aliens are so interested in us, why don't they come down and straighten out our problem? Well, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my parents had a brilliant idea. Okay, clean your room. If I didn't want to clean my room, my parents cleaned it. Not always a good thing, by the way. Okay, you made the mess. You've got the capacity to sort it out. Off-worlders made their own mess. Trace, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I do hope your day is going well. When you take a look at the Sarkon Empire, they expanded so fast that they ended up stranding 3 outposts. Okay, they ended up stranding the races that became the Srazatians, the Tormanon, and the Kamalian. Okay, all 3 developed in their own fashion, but all 3 have their root in the Sarkon Empire, what you know as Alpha Draconis. Okay, when we take a look at Earth, humans colonized Mobius, which is on the other side of the sun. Okay, now Mobius was put there quite intentionally. Mobius is not a Gamoran. Mobius itself was built as a balance point. What are we here? Gotta see that. Finally figured out how to scroll up easy. I tell you, been doing this for 3 years. Okay, as of March 6th, as in just a month ago, I passed my 3-year anniversary running and putting the stream out. Well, it started out as podcasts. Okay, I don't know when my first stream happened, but I think my first stream happened. When did it happen? I forget, in all fairness. Probably a year or so back. Probably 2 years back now. But when you're taking a look at it, okay, when we look at the way family works, all races can get along. Okay, they can. This does not mean they will. Okay, and I forgot the name again. Keep forgetting whether it's the Zeron or the Xenon. And they definitely have a problem with their logic. Xenon, yeah. I get a kick out of it because the Xenon are what humans would call a robotic race. Now, they are intent on wiping out bioorganisms, but that's short-sighted. These guys are brilliant. They really are. But their entire ecosystem is built on replicating bionomes. So I've been talking to them via relay to try and help them understand, yes, they've got a right to be there. They've got a right to live. But if they wipe out, as they're aiming at currently, their leaders are going, we are robot, we are mechanical, therefore we are better than everybody else. Sound like any race or any species you know of? These guys are brilliant. But like I told them, you guys, like I've been trying to explain to them. And of course, they look at me going, well, you're bio. Well, yeah. I love it, Philip. No doubt. Person A, I'm right. Person B, these books say you're wrong. Person A, burn all the books. The problem there is, as you can well imagine, burning the books doesn't change whether you're right or wrong. So I will absolutely admit that the concepts I work with defy accepted versions. Okay, I'm not about to sit here and tell you that mankind can absolutely wipe out, can fend off an alien invasion. I love the Hollywood movies to do it. I really do. Okay, they're a great storyline, but in reality, you haven't got a snowball's prayer. Joseph, long time no see. Like as in yesterday or the day before. How you doing there, Joseph? Glad you could join us. I do, and I've said it often, I do like the American military statement. The difficult we're already doing. The impossible just takes us a little longer. The other one I've run with all my life is I would love it if those of you that tell me things are impossible would get out of the way while I'm doing them. I've done things myself that are absolutely bizarre. Where are we here? Gonna have to see what that says. Joseph, I do not know yet. Let me see. I don't know if I can pull this up properly, but let's take a look. I'm just going into my email right now in real time. Okay, let's check spam and see if it showed up there. Okay, that's going to be a little while trying. There it is. Okay, I'm just taking a look to see if it pops up, just in real time. There we are. That's the link that I need to look at. See if it pops. Oh, that won't be that one. Where are we? Go back to that. Who was it here? Lorenzen. There we go. Look for the wrong person. Of course, if I look for the wrong person, I'm not going to find it. Okay, what do we got? And I am not seeing it just yet. Oh, why the heck did I do that? Sure, I hit the wrong. Okay, I'm gonna have to look for it afterwards. But where do we go here? Joseph, number one, what I do with articles that are sent in is I don't tend to edit them, period. I realize you're giving me permission to. Okay. About the only thing I would do is if there is the computer wasn't working well. If there is a spelling mistake, that one I may end up dealing with. But let's take a peek. Well, trying to see if it showed up at all. Yeah, that should work. Copy that name, and then we go to there. Paste that in. Hit enter. Nothing there, so let's check in email and they pop that in there. Paste that. Oh. Okay, I've only got Joe, just to be clear. Where are we here? Just to be clear, I haven't received an article yet. Okay, I've got one email there. I think I replied to it. I'll have to double check. But double check and make sure that you sent it to innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. If you sent it to .com, it won't get to me. Now, let's go back up here because we got a little sidetracked there, which is fine. But I will tell you, like I said, the odds of my rewording things, not going to happen. That's why it's called a submission. I will print it the way it is. Spelling mistakes, I don't mind when it comes from somebody else. When it comes from me, I've got a problem. Now, coming back down here, Philip goes, and I do appreciate you making the effort to pop it in there, Joseph. It will be in, like, May's still got lots of room to go, so it will be in that one. Is the idea, anyway. Philip, you said if the aliens arrive with no pants, we'll hide our eyes. They will leave us defenseless. This will leave us defenseless. Yeah, many people have that problem. However, there's a lot of humans that don't care whether they're wearing clothes. Now, Philip goes, did you ever read sci-fi or fantasy comedy? I watched it, didn't read it, no. I used to watch, some of the sci-fi comedies, not the least of which was Mork and Mindy. And by the way, much as Mork and Mindy was a comedy, I can tell you that and I don't know offhand what the name of it was, but the race that Alf is, okay, is a real race. Yeah, I checked the spam folder already. It wasn't there either. That was where I went first because I didn't recall seeing anything. Oh, okay. Then it should theoretically pop in there at some point. Spam, where are we? Yeah, to be clear, and I'm not going to look for it right now. To be clear, I will go looking for it. And I will drop you a line. You might want to resend it just in case. But I will take a look for it as soon as the show's over. It was sent last Sunday. It was sent Sunday. Where's my pad? Right here. Okay. This is why I've got this. Oh, that's what I wanted. And there's my pen. Love it when I forget what I put on the desk. Where are we, Joe? There we are. Just making a note to make sure I go looking for it. Perfect. I will track that down afterwards. Philip, do they really eat earth cats? Only if they ever get to Earth. Okay. You know, and by the way, that just boils down to the fact that they're carnivorous. You know, they will eat vegetables, don't get me wrong. But when you take a look at that critter, yes, he's a stylized cartoon style done. Was it then built as a comedy? Certainly. Do they all have a personality like Alf did? No. But then every human doesn't have a sense of humor to speak of either. Yeah, absolutely, Joseph. And that's the one thing. You know, Joseph is just saying, for those of you that do not know, Keith and I have different sources of information, and the people have different purposes. We are friends, so if we disagree, it's not something to worry about. And that's just it, Joseph. You know, I will corroborate that. You know, that I'm not about to get into an argument because you don't see the world the same way I do. There are different ways of looking at it. Where I run into problems, I've thrown people out for this, for going, your opinion is wrong. Well, nobody's opinion can be wrong. Okay. They can be processed through a different outlook. Absolutely. But no, the fact that you don't see things the same way I do, there are very few people on this planet that see things even remotely in the same fashion I do. You know, that's just the reality of it. But I'm not here to censor what's going on. I'm here to get people to think. And there's so many people that go, oh, the aliens are here to wipe us out. And I'm sitting there going, guys, do you have any idea how easy that is? Yeah. You know, the funny thing there, Joe Stewart, Joe Stewart goes, I've seen enough cemetery horror movies of the dead coming back to life. Those are just movies. But the chances of that actually happening in this lifetime, not a good idea to happen. Here's the funny thing. Back in the 1800s and before, people were buried alive. Okay, and therefore did crawl out of the grave. Now that's where I think where part of the zombie thing came in. That, and it's down in the South Pacific, I think Borneo or somewhere there. They have people that practice Vodon that can wipe out somebody's brain so they walk around like a zombie. However, mankind, like the so-called first world countries, came up with a brilliant idea. Here's an instant zombie machine right here. How many people do you know of that will sit there with this zombie machine in hand and stare at it and then walk out into traffic? So I mean, zombies are real, but another issue. I do know that back in England, a lot of places, a lot of the older cemeteries, they started burying people with a bell, a bell ring, just in order to let the person, if they're alive, to ring the bell. Now, of course, you can picture the amount of terror that person's going through when that happened, if they got buried alive. But do zombies get up and attack people? Not that I've ever seen. Yeah. Yeah. Phil goes, if I were buried alive, I'd be very upset. A friend of mine was buried alive by his own family. And I'll tell you, he developed a severe case of claustrophobia, amongst other little problems. I'm not interested in being buried alive myself either. I already tried to being buried alive. In one sense, I drowned. But when we're looking at family, you got to remember that all races have family structures. Okay. Now, sometimes those family, so because I'm already claustrophobic. That's okay. We weren't offering to bury you. I mean, I'm not phobic of much of anything anymore. I'm very leery. I do not deal with crowds well, but I'm not acrophobic. I'm not afraid of crowds. I just don't like them, which might give you an idea of how much this trip down to Reno is a stress point for me, because I don't like it. But every family has their own way of doing things. Even the species that are solo, that are hermaphroditic, as in they don't require a partner. Now, somewhere in my notes, I've got one race that I came across that is literally trigender, and they require all three genders to procreate. That's the thing. I like the original zombie movies where they were walking very slowly and just having troubles moving. That I liked. Okay. But the new ones that come out where you can run like a bat out of heck and they can outrun the living. All of it takes on a whole new that. Just people who dress well. Oh, I can't picture that, Storm. Not with your temperament. Mine do. Oh, speaking of that side of things, sort of. I remember being, I remember being a druid. Okay. And years and like we're talking centuries back when monarchies were the big thing. Okay. And I mentioned this before where I remember standing over a valley where an army was congregating to take out a small community. And I mentioned to you then, I remembered standing up on top of the hill, looking down over the valley. I mentioned at the same time that there was another younger druid on the other side of the valley, also looking down over the valley. So we were looking down at this valley, and the army was gathering and getting ready to go and wipe this small community that had adopted us and shown us kind. So the two of us went up on the side, and we concentrated and literally ended up blanket bombing the place with essentially wiping people's memories out. So they're all there going like, okay, why are we in this valley? It was really effective in a lot of ways. Many of them couldn't even remember who they were or who the friends were. Okay, but the important factor there the important factor there. Now that's got to be a storm move. Yep, not a problem storm. I've done that before, but in this case, it was more like feeble mind. But that being said, I was up on this hill. This other druid was over here. The important factor of this whole story is this. This girl that was this druid that was up here. Okay, I finally found her this lifetime. I finally pieced her together, just waiting for her to put the rest of it together before we corroborate it. By the way, gaseous cloud is also known as a fart. You just have to have a real big one to create that kind of a problem. Of course, fart in a match, and all of a sudden you got a fireball in the wrong circumstances. Also known as explosive decompression. But when we are looking at, you got to remember, humans have family units. Okay, so does virtually. That's just terrible, LA. And he goes, believe me, he's up for the job. But no, every species that has more than one gender has a family unit. Okay, the ones that have only one gender, the ones that have only one gender tend to live on their own. Okay, they will have friends and they will have a social system. But no matter what race we're talking about, no matter what species we're talking about, family is one of the tools utilized in order to get to remember who and what you are, to remember all parts of your existence. Okay, now it's kind of entertaining in my case. I have never, in all the time I've looked around, I've never come across a female lifetime, ever. Neither has anybody else that has looked into my past. So I mean, when we look at that, what I end up looking for is somebody. One of the things I'm seeking is the counterpoint, okay, to somebody that's never had a male past. Okay, so this is one of the big things I've been watching for. Did I miss anything here? Not by the look of it. So again, I am going to take to posting on social media some of the excerpts that I've got in that I work on here. They're going into positive perspectives in order to get word out a little more. Now, the thing with the Elderbachian Chronicles is many of the races that are covered in Races of the Worlds. Races of the Worlds is a reference manual. Okay, it will give you the data. But in the Elderbachian Chronicles, we talk about personalities, about the different things these guys do. And by the way, even in the most aggressive species, okay, there are those that are the creators, that are the artists. Even in the most aggressive, you'll find a pacifist. Now, granted, pacifists, very much like in today's world, people that are not aggressive tend to get overlooked. Not as badly as they do in some places. Okay, so these are all things that we have to consider, or that would be advisable to consider. Like I said, am I ever going to get a tattoo? I wouldn't hold my breath. Okay, I just, frankly, I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of the pain involved, even if it's really low. Okay. On the other hand, I am looking into finding people that can create some of the stuff that I've got sitting here. I've got the eye for it. I know what I'm looking for. I don't know how to create it. That's where you guys come in. Okay. Now, one of the things that I will tell you, I've actually got a couple of songs that I know of from other species. The neat little trick is going to be finding somebody that can actually take the song and put music to it in order to get it done. The poetry is the easy part. I can write that without a problem. Yeah, LA goes, my mother gave me a load over a piercing of the ears. She'd have had kittens over a tattoo. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt at all. Like, it's funny. I told my boys, I won't back one up. Oh. Philip, you're over in England, are you not? I'm just reading that you just told us you didn't get your border crossing documents in time. Doesn't really matter whether you are or not. If you didn't get them, you can't get across the border. I'm lucky I'm sitting on mine. If I hadn't been, rest assured, I wouldn't have been actually planning a trip down to the States. But that reminds me, I do have to make sure I track everything down and get it packed up where it belongs. Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing, Philip. Are you planning on being in Reno? Because I'm pretty certain the States hasn't got so fun and so fussy that you won't be able to get over there. If you are, I will be down in Reno from the 8th to the 14th. Now, the 8th and the 13th, I won't be seeing anybody but my other half. Oh, okay. That makes sense. We'll figure things out, though. Or you will, because, well, frankly, I've got my schedule is just booked solid. Yeah, that was the wrong cup of coffee to grab. That coffee's cold. This stuff's warm. Definitely prefer the warm coffee. The nice part about it, when we take a look at family, you just have to realize that all families have their hiccups. Okay. Yeah, Reno does have casinos. Not as many as Vegas and not as many as Atlantic City. And answer to that question, yes. I did decide I'm going into the casino. Okay. I will be dropping into the casino while I'm down there. I've only been in a casino 9 times in my entire life. 8 of them, I came out with more money than I went in with. And yes, I have every intention on coming out with more money than I went in with. But I don't go in there with $1,000 and say, hey, let's put it all and ride it all. You don't do that. I did figure out a formula, which I'm quite willing to share with people, on how to make money. Actually, I should do an article on that, come to think of it. How to actually make money in a casino without counting cards, without gauging odds, without trying to beat the casino. It's a trick that I learned that gets you to beat yourself. That comes up bad. That gets you to actually compete against yourself. Okay, but so I will add that to I've got a few extra articles going into, like, the May edition is already written. Okay, I've already written the May edition of Positive Perspectives, but I've got a couple of extra articles that I'm throwing into it. One of which I will be writing this one up. Okay, because let's face it, we are only on the 8th. So I got lots of time to get the last couple articles written. One of which will be I've got a picture of something you are not going to believe. It's a picture of dice. Okay. But when you take a look at it, you can check and see if it's photoshopped. I don't care. There is no way I can actually prove it. Okay, somebody else can figure it out. But after all the years gaming I've done, all the dice rolling that we've done, playing Dungeons and Dragons with groups of upwards of 10 people, okay, averaging 2 games a month, or two games a month, 2 games a week over the last almost 48 years. In June, it'll be 48. Okay. Over that time, I've seen this happen once. I've got a photograph of a 6-sided dice that landed on its edge. Now, you're going to look at this and go, no, that can't happen. It did. 3 witnesses, and as soon as it happened, I literally went, don't anybody move, just stay put, and took a photograph of it. I appreciate the heads up, LA. The other one I will do an article on how to actually earn money in a casino, not how to beat the casino. You're not beating the casino. You're simply controlling what you're doing. But this is a gift that everybody requires. Not everybody can count cards, and I firmly believe that, counting cards takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. On the other hand, if you're not cheating, I personally don't see a problem with it. If you've got a memory that says, I can track that, why should you get penalized? Okay. I'm lucky. With the different races I've dealt with, I've been exposed to a lot of different perspectives on things. Okay. And what we have to realize is that family, yes, it's going into positive perspective. I've already got the article written. That one's already written. And I've already got the photograph, and I know how to move it in now, so we're good. So the main edition of Positive Perspectives will have that particular picture and article in it. And I'm telling you, you're going to look at it going, is that photoshopped? I'm telling you, it wasn't. Let's face it. Some of you know my technological capacity. Not going to happen. I'm not going to be photoshopping anything. It took me 4 years to figure out with people trying to help me, to figure out how to get a photograph off of this onto the computer. Now, can you picture me taking and how long it's going to take to figure out how to Photoshop something? So I will be adding that. The other thing I was thinking of, and I'm just missing one picture somewhere in this mess, which I got to track down, regarding the different books. Because the neat part about it is with the Elderbachian Chronicles, I am now at a point where things are moving forward, especially with solving the other problem. Yeah, he goes, thank you for the corroboration there, LA. LA's just going, Keith can't Photoshop and Storm won't. And there's no way I'll bother with it. In my eyes, you get a photograph. That's how you record things, not how you'd like them to be recorded. If I desired it to be done the way I'd like it to be recorded, I'd get somebody to draw the thing. But that I love the way, like, the turnout today has been absolutely bizarre, especially given what I was looking at the other, just quite frankly this morning, because just on a real short side note, I was looking at the stream today, going, when I was looking off world, we were getting 15, 20 people in the room. Okay. Now, I don't know what the peak is at this point. But we were getting 15, 20 people. When I start looking at how to straighten your own life, we all of a sudden bottomed out at like 3 and 4 people, which to me is a little disheartening when you think there are billions of people out there sitting in groups where people are saying, hey, you're all going to burn, you're all going to die and go to hell. You're a sinner, you're just going to die. Or, we're going to go through we're going to suffer food shortages, land shortages, we're going to suffer all these shortages. One genius actually came out and told us we were actually that we were suffering from a gravity shortage. Now, I do not know how these people actually breathe without a headset on going, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. I have to wonder, we talk about artificial intelligence. Okay, I'm just looking for the people that have actual intelligence. And yes, many of you really do. Okay, this does not mean that we all agree on the same thing. But at least people here. That's what I thought there, Ellie. I know I'm going to die. I absolutely know I'm going to die. Again, it gets annoying. Okay, but sooner or later I'll take care of that. I'm not about, the closest I ever came to actually being suicidal, I wasn't depressed. I was curious. I remember going across a ferry, and riding a ferry across from Vancouver to Vancouver Island. At the time, the ferry we were on was supposed to take 4 hours. Well, we got on the ferry, and I'm outside. It's pitch black, a starless night, and I'm going, what would happen if I fell off the boat? Right. I mean, I'm a good swimmer. Yeah, the fall's gonna hurt when I land, but I'm a good swimmer. I should be good. Right. Yeah, it was about a mile. I was still a couple of miles offshore, probably longer than that. Come to think of it, I was probably closer to 10 miles offshore, but that didn't dawn on me. I got up on the inside of the rail, went to put my foot over to get to the outside of the rail. Now, I'm only 12 years old at the time. I'm like, I think I'll go back inside before I do something absolutely retarded. I know that's a bad word. It makes somebody upset. I got over it. This is why I say, when I was growing up, I used to get told, you need to apologize. And I'd look at them and go, please accept my most insincere apology to date. Everybody seemed to be happy. I was apologizing. But when we look at family will have fallout. They will have arguments. But if you've been separated for whatever reason from your own family, regardless of where they are in the world, regardless of what happened, if you can bring yourself to reach out and reconnect, okay, and at least make the effort. This is not to forgive them for whatever went wrong. And bear in mind, in most cases, it is a 50-50 problem. Okay, there are those of you that have been abused in ways that we're just not going to discuss right now, because I'm not opening those kind of cans of worms. Okay, but I will tell you that, if you can work a way to find a balance point, to bring that family back together, I strongly encourage you to do so. I did so with my own brother when it happened to me. We had a fallout that was decades long. Finally put it back together. Okay. That's just the nice part about it from my standpoint. But no matter what species you are, no matter what race you come from, no matter what species or race you associate with, okay, family is family. Okay. Like, I know people that they call them the crazy cat women. Well, if your family is a whole bunch of cats or a whole bunch of dogs and you don't associate with people much, your family is that group. In my opinion, pets are just simply four-legged, feathered, winged, scaled, children. That's all they are. they're held in the same fashion, in the same way. Now, with this in mind, guys, we are drawing down to the end. So I will put it to you this way. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. Of all the places you could be, you chose to stay here. Thank you so much for sharing your time. I will be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going into the creative side of things a whole lot more, but still focusing on the family side of it. Okay. Then I go into my actual weekend. With that in mind, guys, thank you so much for sharing your time. I will be back. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.